What's going on YouTube? Malik here back with another video, and today we got Netflix's One Piece live action exceeds expectations. Personally, because I've seen Dragon Ball Evolution, I have no my expectations are down below because Netflix and live action does not mix very well. So that being said, my expectations are pretty low. So if it ends up surprising me, that's a really good thing. And if it doesn't, then I expect it to flop. Not being negative, but that's just how it works. Especially with Avatar as well. Avatar is horrible. And that being said, check it out.
Netflix's One Piece live action will surpass and is surpassing all expectations. Yes, that includes yours. And despite the drama floating around on Twitter, One Piece tested horribly, a major deviation from the source material and the tone of the show isn't really working, which to many may not come as a surprise, since it's no secret the live action anime has failed terribly in the past. We have literal atrocities from Netflix, such as the Death Note 2017 adaptation.
Wait, there's a Death Note adaptation? Wait, how come I've never heard of that? I want to see that. I feel like that'd be funny. I want to see that.
Which was canceled after only one season, and then the live-action Dragon Ball, which is probably the best movie in cinema history. Just kidding, let's pretend it never existed. And ironically, Tomorrow Studios, the crew that made Cowboy Bebop's live-action, are the same ones working on One Piece. So why would One Piece be any different? After all, the live-action crew has a lot to live up to. Any misstep or stray too far from the source material, which brought countless amazing memories to us for over 25 years now. So of course, it makes perfect sense to be concerned, especially when it comes to Luffy's stretchy fighting style and how it would translate to live action. And then we have
boys, unless I feel like Netflix gonna have a really hard time pulling off the Devil Fruit powers. It's gonna be so bad. I can it's gonna be so bad. Him stretching his arms gonna be like a tinfoil extinction with some springs that's painted like, I don't know, like peach or tan. Oh boy, that'll be quite interesting.
Have the shoes. Luffy is wearing shoes and he has sandals in the anime. This is absolutely
I didn't even see. No way. They gave Luffy shoes. Yo, this is GG's already. Like, I'm not hating. I'm just saying facts.
Then we have the shoes. Luffy is wearing shoes. And he has sandals in the anime. This is absolutely unacceptable. I'll have you know, my father,
that's already an L.
None of this matters because the man himself, Ichiro Oda, is heavily involved in the creation process.
He is.
Himself, the Netflix crew, and the cast are passionately working together with one of the highest budgets any live-action anime has ever worked with. But that's not even the best thing to be excited about, because One Piece has something a little magical, making it nearly immune to failing. I'll get into specifics later in the video, but for now, just give me your time, and after watching, tell me if your mind has changed or not. And I promise you, your mind will change. But first, allow me to debunk all of your concerns and the drama brewing on Twitter, and then we'll get into everything.
It's Twitter. I don't think you should take it
seriously.
seriously.
So drop a like and do hit subscribe.
Twitter is
so
actually
I can reach my goal of surpassing the official
I can tell people are trolling
channel
or
with
not. Some people on Twitter actually brain dead.
million subscribers. That means I only need a 1.86 million more subscribers. We are extremely close. And now let's talk about the drama. Perhaps the largest thing concerning fans is how seemingly every other live-action anime has failed terribly before.
Death Note almost surpassed Dragon Ball in the lowest amount of. I want to see. I'm gonna watch this tonight. The Death Note adaptation. I want to see what happens.
Is how seemingly every other live-action anime has failed terribly before in the past. But that's just simply
Dragon Ball Evolution
was some amazing adaptations of popular anime that are already out there. Like, for example, Rurouni Kenshin. At first, it was a manga and then an anime released in 1996, which then was followed by 5 renditions of live action, with the most recent one getting 4.8 stars just in 2021. In fact, it was so successful that the anime is getting a renewal this this year in 2023. Another good example of a live action would be Death Note. Wait, wrong one. There we go. If you didn't already know, Death Note also had live actions produced and released in Japan that had amazing reviews. So as you can see, despite the popular belief that live action anime never works, that's simply not the case. That alone is not a
yo, this beat goes so hard. I'm like, you know, I'm vibing out because
reason to dismiss the One Piece live action. However, if everything said in this tweet right here is in fact true, that could be a reason to dismiss the show. But fortunately for us, this tweet is major cap and there's nothing to be worried about. So let's talk about what this tweet says and why it doesn't matter. The tweet starts by saying One Piece tested horribly with non-fans, which doesn't matter because they're not fans. And then it goes on to say this.
In
the first episode, the first half is completely all flashbacks and features of young Luffy before we jump to the present and rush through the introductions to Zoro, Nami, Usopp, and Sanji, all within the remaining 15 minutes, a major deviation from the source material. I want you to keep in mind that the very first chapter of One Piece was indeed a flashback, and so it's already not a major deviation from the source material. So more than likely, this is just a way to introduce the faces of the cast within the first episode. In the following episodes, I would imagine they go more into depth for each character's backstory, because keep in mind, they built an entire set for the Baratie. So do you really think they're gonna build all that and then blow through Sanji's backstory in 5 minutes? No. But we also shouldn't be surprised if each character doesn't have their own episode dedicated to developing their backstory, because that would be a complete waste of time. One Piece has been out for over 25 years, so we've already seen these backstories plenty of times. In fact, this was the exact reasoning Spider-Man Homecoming did not include Peter Parker's backstory. Fans already saw Peter Parker get bit by a spider and then become Spider-Man in 2 separate movies. So even if Netflix
decides that's a little different though, to be fair, because that's a different, yes, it's the same concept in principle, but that's a different Peter Parker. They're not the same. Because for example, Miles is Peter Parker, but he's black. But the way he got bit was completely different from the main Peter that we know, as in Tobey Maguire. So his could be different from what's his name? Andrew Garfield was different too, because he snuck into a lab and got bit. You know, that's also different. Tom, how did he get bit exactly? We don't know. We just assume that it's just like the original Peter Parker, Tobey Maguire. So, you know, that's a bad example, in my opinion.
Through all of the character introductions, we already know who they are, and that doesn't take away from the live action. The tweet also goes on to say that, quote, as for the tone of the show, it's not really working. The makeup/look of some of the cast look off, and the show jumps between being over-the-top goofy to being serious, and is jarring and inconsistent. To anyone who has seen any amount of One Piece,
that guy's actually just a hater. Like, that dude's... Okay. He's literally just hating on the show for no reason. He's like, hey, I mean, this and that. Why are you so negative? Like, you can be slightly positive about it, right? But like, dude.
You would know that the show goes from goofy to serious very fast. Just like in Amazon Lily, when Luffy was running around all goofy at the top of the castle to falling into Boa Hancock's bath and learning about her past with slavery. As for the makeup, let's be honest with ourselves. One Piece characters are some of the goofiest looking characters in all of anime. If you weren't already convinced that this tweet is garbage, just a few days after it was tweeted, Greg Warner, an official collaborator, confirmed, quote, the test audience article that you don't need to read, click, or share is entirely untrue. Now that we debunked that tweet, it's time to go over some of the smaller concerns addressing the live action, such as the shoes, which technically
he does have a Luffy build. Jesus.
Is a deviation from the source. However, this is the real world, and it is much safer to do stunts in shoes than sandals. So you have to either pick between weak stunts or him wearing shoes. Personally, I would much rather him wear shoes and have cool stunts, but I mean, it's up to you if you want shoes to be the reason you're not going to watch a show.
I mean, they could low-key just CGI in sandals. Like, have him wear, like, green shoes. And then, you know, just... I feel like that would be more tedious to do, but they could just, you know, do that instead.
People who are a little bit worried about the way Luffy is going to look when he stretches his arms.
Yeah, that'll
which
be
is
kind
a
of
much
weird.
more valid concern to be worried about the show than the shoes. But it still doesn't matter, because like I said at the beginning of the video, One Piece has something a little magical that prevents any of this from ruining the show. In order for me to explain it and have you fully understand, first I need to tell you what you should be excited for when it comes to the One Piece live action, starting with the amazing cast. Oda was incredibly picky with who he decided to become the Straw Hats. I mean, he considered everything. Here's what he had to say upon announcing the cast. Their face, the size of their mouths and hands, their aura, the way they carry themselves, their voice, their acting skills, their height, the balance amongst the Straw Hat crew, and more. So, if you were wondering if Iñaki Godoy is going to make a good Luffy, yes, no one else in the world would make a better Luffy. Not only does he make a great fit, I mean, just look at him. That is Luffy. But there is every reason to be confident in him.
He's
not only Luffy, but as an actor. He's already worked with Netflix just last year on Imperfect, and I gotta say, after watching, my confidence
Luffy
has
was
grown
chained
in him
up a slave.
tremendously.
He was
dressed up as a minion to go watch Minions with the rest of the cast. This encapsulates Luffy perfectly. He's such a goofball. I love it. But not only is he intrinsically like Luffy, he also has so much passion for becoming this character that we all love.
That's awesome.
He also understands One Piece jokes. He was memeing around on Instagram that Zoro got lost and he found him. Speaking of Zoro, let's talk about his actor and why he makes a great fit. Zoro is being played by Mackenyu, which, according to Google, his name roughly translates to True Sword Savior. But what's even cooler is Mackenyu has already played a swordsman in a live-action anime, and it's the same one I talked about earlier in the video, Rurouni Kenshin. For Nami, she is being played by Emily Rudd, who was not only a fan of One Piece, but Nami before the live action was ever announced. So she's not lying on her Instagram when she says this is her dream role. And as a fan of the series, you should expect that she also gets One Piece jokes. Look at this video.
Okay, so you have people that's like already the three people that he's talking about, they'll play that role really, really well. So that's a massive plus. So he is changing my mind, because what he brought up earlier about changing your mind.
Luffy's
he is changing it.
Ah yes, Nami, the only character in all of One Piece that is able to threaten Luffy, and Luffy's just enjoying food. Usopp is being played by Jacob Romero Gibson. I have a lot of faith in this man, especially after he wore this bucket hat looking exactly like Usopp. But not only that, he went onto Instagram to say that is one of the greatest honors in my life to bring breath to Usopp. Clearly, he has a lot of passion, and I think it's safe to say that this whole cast is in great hands. Or legs. Did I mention Sanji? Because Sanji is being played by an actual real-life Sanji. That's right, Todd Schuyler is putting immense amount of work into learning Sanji's character.
Yeah, some of you guys in the comments were like, this dude's putting like a lot of work into himself. Like, he's doing martial arts. He probably knows how to cook really well. Bro, like he's taking his role really, really seriously, and that's amazing. Like, that's a good thing. Like, you should be doing that. Like, that's impressive. Like,
and the countless hours he spent practicing bartending tricks. I mean, how cool is that? And on top of it, Sanji's actor has already worked with the actor who will be playing Zeph on not one, but 2 projects, with each of them being a father-son dynamic. Oh yeah, and also Craig Fairbrass, the actor playing Zeph, was also Ghost's voice actor in Modern Warfare 2.
Oh, he what?
Clearly, not only is the main cast extremely passionate about playing their respective roles, which you might be wondering how we can afford such fantastic actors. And the answer is the budget.
Bro, imagine if Speed was Luffy. Jeez, that'd be so funny.
The budget is really big. Of course, the budget means nothing if the studio working on it wastes it, right? And if the studio is the same one who worked on Cowboy Bebop, doesn't that mean One Piece is doomed to fail? No, actually, quite the opposite. I want you to keep in mind that while Cowboy Bebop was canceled after a single season, the reviews were not overwhelmingly negative. It nearly had 4 stars on Google. Compare that to the 1.8 stars Death Note 2017 got, and all of a sudden, Cowboy Bebop looks like it deserves a Grammy. So why did it get canceled after only 1 season? Well, the answer can be broken down into 2 main reasons. The first first reason was because it wasn't faithful to the original source material, and the second reason was because of the budget. Each of these reasons are highlighted by Ted Biaselli, a Netflix executive, in this article by Screen Rant. He stated that he also wanted to avoid doing a shot-for-shot adaptation, something that the live-action Cowboy Bebop series was slightly maligned for, or simply taking the franchise and ignoring the core themes of the series. Knowing Oda is significantly involved in the series,
you can't really move away from the original source material, because it ends up not being what people expect it to be. It's some nonsense thrown together. For example, the Halo show on Paramount, bro, they were not cooking. The first episode was cool. Yeah, that was good. After that, bro, I don't know what happened. I stopped after the third episode because they were not cooking. That was horrible.
Fans I'd rather watch Dragon Ball Evolution. Past reports have indicated that Netflix aims to avoid another disappointment like Cowboy Bebop. Thus, they are working hard to ensure a hit, such as giving the series a larger budget than its other shows. Yet despite the budget and the fact that they were not faithful to the source, Tomorrow Studios managed to put together a 4-star show. I think it's safe to say that when it comes to them creating One Piece, we're in good hands and there's only room to go up. Since of course we won't have to worry about Oda publicly criticizing the live action like how Cowboy Bebop's creator did for not being faithful to the source. Since of course Oda is literally the source and he is working on the project himself. This means that the One Piece live action has massive potential, since nobody else in the entire world knows what makes One Piece truly great better than Oda. And what makes One Piece truly great is the same magical reason I mentioned earlier. I keep saying magical reason. Regardless if the fighting style is good or goofy or bad, or if Luffy's wearing shoes, it can never take away the fact that One Piece is a story about world building, like some Jordan ones. If you told me that you watch One Piece for the fights and animations, you would be lying to yourself, because nobody watches One Piece for the animation. The only reason someone would watch 1,000+ episodes of One Piece is because of the world building and character development. No other series out there is this detailed when it comes to
unless you're watching One Piece just for Wano. Because I was scrolling to Twitter, I had to skip it because I've seen like 6 different posts of this new Zoro going crazy. But like, dude, apparently it's like top notch, like greatness, and it doesn't last for like 30 seconds, like for around like 10 minutes I think, but it's like a lengthy period of time with like fighting and cool scenes and that kind of stuff.
And even the side characters and cast, leading to one of the most amazing pieces of media in history, keeping you on the edge of your seat following the adventures of Monkey D. Luffy, meeting his friends, going exciting places, and learning what the world has to offer, along with each character's dark, intense backstory and the themes that surround it. And the morality is even questioned, as the protagonists are portrayed as pirates. I think these are themes that the live action can do an excellent job in portraying and give us a new way to look at the darker tones of One Piece. So let me know down in the comments below if your expectations have changed, and if you'd like to know more about the complex morality.
Let me guys know in the comment section, did your guys' expectations change? Because mine have. I have a more sense of security that it's not going to be trash, you know, because compared to the other live action adaptations, they're horrible. So that being said, that's that, and I'll catch you guys next one. See ya.